Welcome, guys. So today we are diving headfirst into the darker, heavier end of the music. Narcotic Wasteland have just launched their massive European tour, and with the 20th anniversary of Annihilation of the Wicked, Dallas Toler Wade is bringing two of his iconic Nile tracks back to the stage for one last time. This is a rare moment, guys, because he's made it very clear once this tour is done, he won't be performing those songs again. So today we are joined by the man himself, guitarist, vocalist, and extreme metal architect, Dallas Toler Wade. So let's dive right into the chaos, the craft, and the energy behind this tour. Dallas, welcome. Thank you for coming onto the show today. Now, you're halfway through this mammoth of a tour, currently in Italy with a massive online response already. How are you feeling with this run across Europe?
It's been better than expected. Been really thankful and appreciative of the response that we've gotten so far. And yeah, it was been a long time coming. I've been trying to get us over to Europe for a little while, and everything kind of came through a little at the last minute to my surprise. And yeah, here we are. And I mean, that's just the way of rock and roll, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, so you've said that this will be the last time you'll ever perform the two Nile tracks you wrote for Annihilation of the Wicked. What's it like revisiting the songs that helped define that era of your career and making a decision to finally close the chapter on them?
Well, I kind of personally felt that Nile should have done maybe a 20th anniversary tour for that album. And they did not. And well, we've ran out of time. The year is almost over. And once I was like, well, fine, I'm gonna do something because I think that that is absolutely iconic metal album. Something that we should all in the Nile camp be very proud of, and producer Neil Kernan as well. Everything just kind of aligned, and it was George Collius's first record with us. And in terms, in my opinion, in terms of songwriting and in terms of the production and everything, not only did we raise the bar on ourselves, but we raised the bar in death metal. Revisiting the songs has been pretty fun. We played Lash to the Slave Stick a lot live, so it just like kind of fell right back in. Burning Pits of the Duat, we only performed on the Annihilation tours back in 2005, so I haven't really played the song since then. So it was pretty cool to revisit it, and it was also cool to get the tablature done for them. So I've got the tablature, and I have the tablature done up on my website, Dallas Solar Wade website, for Burning Pits and Lash of the Slave Stick. So yeah, it was fun to kind of dive in and check them out again.
So when you're playing something that you wrote almost 2 decades ago, do you feel an urge to modernize it, or do you stay true to the original format?
Yeah. I mean, whatever we did, that was pretty much the way they were supposed to be, and that's the way I remember them. Yeah, as far as modernizing them, not really. Um, we're just we're playing as authentic as possible. I performed all the guitars and a lot of the vocals and probably a good bit of the bass on those tracks. So when you hear it live, it sounds like the album because it's me. That's been the general consensus from some of the crowd, some of the audience goers, or concert goers as well.
Amazing. Well, let's look at that in terms of the tour then. So when you were building this tour set list, what was the trickiest part of balancing the aggression and precision of both worlds without it feeling like two separate shows stitched together?
No, it's pretty seamless, even in the narcotic stuff, since I write like 95% of the stuff in Narcotic Wasteland. While Nile is a little bit different, Narcotic Wasteland, in my opinion, is a little more on the thrashy side of things, and there's definitely an element of punk as well. But it's still me. And if you know the stuff that I do, you can still tell it is me. And there are fleeting moments in the narcotic stuff that where, fans have said that kind of reminds me of Nile. I'm like, well, I have no idea why. No.
Are there any places in Europe where you think that fans are going to respond very differently to the Narcotic Wastelands compared to the Nile era?
I think it's been pretty much, I mean, some people kind of actually are preferring what Narcotic Wasteland's doing, which was a little surprising to me. They're walking up saying that they like what we do even better. Um, I take all that stuff with a grain of salt. Metal is, there are different flavors of it, but if you're into it, if you're into something like Nile or Suffocation or whatever, or even more thrashier stuff, there's a good chance that you'll like what we do. I think one of the biggest challenges is to get people to actually listen and to check you out. Of course, most of the feedback we see online and most of the comments we see are very positive, but you've always got your naysayers or somebody that just refuses to check it out for some reason because, I mean, usually it's probably because they have their head up their ass and I probably don't want them coming to my concert. But, you know, for the most part, everybody's kind of liking the idea. I mean, there was a little bit of uh resistance in the beginning when I left Nile. But that's slowly but surely kind of going away, and more people are like, well, now we've got two cool ass bands. So, there's the positive thinkers and the negative thinkers. And, I don't let any of that deter me at all. I don't listen to people's opinions. I don't personally care about most of their opinions. I just play metal. And if you like it, cool. If you don't, then cool. Go listen to somebody else.
So when it came to devising that sound for you, at what point did you realize, all right, this is the Narcotic Wasteland sound?
That happened pretty naturally. I was actually just talking about this in an interview recently where I was just basically sitting with a more normal tuned guitar that was just a half step down off of E, which is my favorite tuning in the world. Um, and I was just very relaxed and very comfortable. And I just had a lot of ideas flowing out that reminded me a lot of the things that I was doing previous to Nile, before I joined Nile. And it just had an attitude and a vibe to it. And the first song that I wrote that was definitely the beginnings of at least a side project was called Widespread Narcotic Wasteland. And then the next thing you know, I had three songs. And the next thing you know, I had five songs. I'm like, well, shit. I think it's time to maybe put a band together. And a longtime friend of mine, Ed Rohn, great guitarist, we used to jam together back in the day. He and I was started sending him demos and stuff, and I was just, we were kind of wanting to, and then we kind of did put a band together. We had the entire album written for about 2 years before we could find drummer Eric Scholtek to perform the songs and do the mixing and mastering duties in the studio. Because and the stuff that I was writing was stuff that I felt like I could accomplish myself on the drums. And initially, I was going to play all the instruments. But as I started writing more and more songs, I just kind of was like, I would really like to have this as a band. And, of course, Nile at the time was still my main focus. But, on Nile downtime, I could maybe do this on the side and have some fun with it. I wasn't trying to like, you know, burn two candles at the same time, so to speak. But then fast forward, after I left Nile, I was like, well, I guess I'll just concentrate on this.
So during that time, then, what have you discovered about yourself as an artist in this chapter that you never saw during your years with Nile?
I think everything is pretty much the same. I'm fundamentally the same guy that I was when I was 14, except a little more focused. Um, I've taken lessons since then. I've given lessons, and I've always just wanted to stay focused on the craft and try to write the best that I could write and bring stuff to the table that people would enjoy in the band and out in the audience. You know what I mean? And that's always been my main focus, and that's never going to change. I'm always going to try to improve as a guitarist and as a songwriter.
And as natural for fronting the band. So, what part of fronting the band came naturally, and what challenged you the most?
Well, I've been singing and playing guitar about roughly about the same time. I mean, by the time I joined Nile in 1997, I had already fronted like three bands. So, and then when I started standing in the middle of the stage with Niall, I mean, it was just kind of like an old friend. It was something that I was very comfortable with. So, yeah, I mean, it just feels like me doing me, basically.
And has leading your own vision now, has it changed the way that crowds connect with you personally during the shows?
I don't really know. I don't necessarily think about that. I do know that, our audience has been growing over the years in the U.S. and Canada. And now that we're over here in Europe and we have a chance to grow the audience here, people have been very receptive and very responsive. And that's about as far as I go with that.
Say, so what keeps the fire burning for you in extreme metal after all these years?
It's just the love for music and the love for guitar and the challenges musically. And I just like to challenge myself musically. And I also like to just write some stuff that helps me kind of sort of therapeutic for me. So it's all about me. No, I mean, I think that's really the driving force. It's always been that. It's been just, about the craft, about the music. Um, no frills, no pompous attitudes, no backing tracks, no BS. Just get up there and deliver and get in the studio and spread your wings, man. I mean, that's what it's always about. That's what it's always going to be about.
Nice. So looking to the end of the tour. So what's the next frontier for you musically?
Well, we have a tour in the States with Belphegor, Incantation, and Hate. That's going to be like February, March. And then after that, I am going to take a little break from touring so we can get more material out. I've been not necessarily procrastinating getting the third album out, but we had COVID happen and then I had some lineup changes. And then once that COVID lifted, I started getting show offers and tour offers and stuff like that. So I decided that it would be a good idea to solicit the band a little bit more and get us out there, get good, get tight, you know, interact with the fans and build the fan base a little bit before I just go off half cocked with a new album. You know what I mean?
Amazing. And the last question, where can our listeners find you?
You can go to DallasTolerWay.com. You can go to NarcoticWasteland.com. You can all the usual suspects like Instagram and Facha, like Facebook. I mean, I call it Facha. A little bit of a Boogie Nights reference. I try to remember that TikTok exists, but it's really difficult between the YouTube channel and everything else going on with the band and all that stuff. So
Amazing. Well, a massive thank you to Dallas Waste for joining me on the show. And if Narcotic Wasteland are ever hitting a venue near you, trust me, do not sleep on it. This is your final chance to hear these Nile classics straight from the original composer alongside the band's crushing material that has been tearing through Europe and the US. So go stream the tracks, watch the playthroughs, grab your tickets, keep it locked. And as always, guys, if you ain't headbanging yet, what the hell are you even doing? Dallas Waste, thank you very much for joining me on the show tonight.
thanks for having me.
Thank you.